that can be like points. Excuse my doing that in a hurried way. Or it could be another set of data that looks sort of like that, or it could be a sort of a data that looks like that. The closer, tighter knit of all the dots means that the tendency is very accurate or trending. Best fit line that goes through that is going in a negative slope, going down from left to right. So that's a negative. Sorry, let me write it down there with it. Negative correlation. This bunch of scatter plots, dots of data, has no correlation because they're not really lining up or taking any kind of trend or any kind of path or pattern. If you bit a best fit line through that, this would be a positive correlation. So be familiar with that. We teach that in algebra as well, and data analysis probability allows us to be able to gather that information in a certain scatter plot format, but know those phrases. I see that as part of what they're asking you to look at and be able to tell if it's a positive or negative or no correlation whatsoever. Scatter plots. Next concept they have is in data analysis and probability is teaching you how to gather information in a survey type of format, taking samples of data from populations and various things on topics that we may be researching. Surveys and data would try to teach you how to properly do that, not sway the response of those that you're asking questions about in a survey or a sample format, to do that and ask it in a proper way. We also do this in science, and so when we're doing research and gathering information in a survey format, you go to the mall and you ask certain questions. You don't want to write the survey question that's going to lead the respondent to a certain answer or another. You want to try to make that as true and pure and untainted with your bias or your innuendo that you want to do. So, but yeah, we teach you survey and sampling type of techniques to minimize the bias. In other words, minimize your influence on what kind of responses you might be getting. So be familiar with those types of things and how to do that in a good way. In creating surveys and samples, they'll have problems on the SBA that says, hey, this is what a survey was, these were the questions. Is this unbiased, which means you did a good job in not swaying your opinion in the question, or do you see some bias in that survey question that's kind of leading the respondent to a certain position or a certain answer that you were wanting them to have, and that's not a good thing. It's not a proper survey fashion or technique. Okay, so know surveys and samples that may be on the standard-based assessment for you to be able to respond to on that test. Next title of content that I see is offered here to be aware of that might be on the SBA is theoretical probability, and concepts that we teach with theoretical probability and statistics is going to be able to do things, be able to distinguish between independent and dependent events. Independent events are events that are sort of what it says. It's going to be things that are not really dependent on other things. And so they may ask things like, use the information to answer questions 1. The odds are 1 to 4 that it will rain tomorrow. Well, what's the probability of it raining tomorrow? 1 to 4. Be able to change that and understand what they mean by that. What's the probability it will not rain tomorrow? If they say the probability that it will is 1 to 4, probability that it won't rain would be, yeah, that's right, 3 to 4. So just be familiar with theoretical probability and knowing how to, again, roll a dice in a certain way and know the event, which event has a probability of 75%. Would rolling a number not divisible by 2 be 75%? Would roll a sum less than 7 be a probability, since if you have 2 dice, sorry. Rolling a number greater than 3, does that have 75% probability? Rolling 2 even numbers, does that have a 75%? So just be aware, if you have 2 dice, each has 6, that's 12, that gives you 6 even numbers, right? 6 of the 12. Is that 75% that it'll be an even number? No, it's 50%. So just be able to understand it, how to do those theoretical probabilities with various things, and they like dice a lot. So the next concept, actually it's the last concept that I have to share with you, is what might be on the standard-based assessment with data analysis and probability, is the types of data that we try to familiarize you with. Types of data can be things that trying to help you understand the meaning of measurement data and categorical data, and of the term variable, things that vary. We use algebraic symbols to stand for things that vary. Be able to, here's an example of a question, since we've got a little time. Which response will provide categorical data? What type of pet do you have? What type of transportation do you use or get to school? And what color are your eyes? Or all of the above provide responses with categorical data. Pets are in categories. Transportation, are there different categories of transportation? Buses, mom's car, brother's car, dad's car, categories. Color of your eyes, do those come in categories? Colors of blue, and brown, and green, and bloodshot, like Keeley's? Just kidding. Those are categories, right? So those are categorical data. When you look at something, you can say, hey, I can put that in a category. The species of animals, categories. So be familiar with categorical types of things. Cooking, electric, types of causes of fires. Well, those are categorical. What causes a fire? Keely's cooking. I'm just kidding. She's in the room, so I'm making fun of her. Those types of things are what you can think of, and just know what categorical types of data that you have. Data that's just raw number, that's numerical data. It's not necessarily in any kind of category, or maybe it's about one specific category of data that you're collecting. Be familiar with those. Google all these things. If you need to refresh your memory on some of this stuff, this is data analysis and probability. How do we look at our world, be able to go to Las Vegas and win a lot of money on the odds games? No, I'm just kidding about that too. But that's kind of what data analysis and probability lends itself to, being able to look at data and then make projections and predictions, and being able to categorize things and know how things happen, and how to organize data in a certain way so that we can analyze it and come up with an answer that we can trust, instead of just throwing a dart at a board and saying, hey, that's what I want, that's what I think is correct, or listening to somebody and trusting what they say without them being able to provide any kind of data or information that would support their opinion and what they say. These are true life skills that we need to be able to develop in our own life, not just in our math class, and not just for a math test. So this was Data Analysis and Probability, Standards-Based Assessment Prep from the Ask Academy. We hope you've enjoyed it. We are the Ask Academy.